Hey everybody, so in this video we're going to start off right from where we were in the last video. We are configuring the network for the firepower threat defense, which is right here, located behind this switch and this ISP running 75.10.10.0.29. Alright, so let's configure this. It's also connected ETH0 to management. That's my network, the 192.168.0 network /24. So we're going to configure IPv4. We're going to say yes to that. We're not going to do IPv6. We could do that in a future video. I'm thinking about that possibly. We'll do manual. Enter an IPv4 192.168.0.128. Okay. And that is our net mask. That's good. And 192.168.0.1. We'll just let this, we'll call this firepower. TNS, we'll just use the Google one. That should be good enough. Search domains, we don't need that. Okay, so once we configure the management, once this is done, let's see, manage the device locally. We will say yes. So firewall mode is going to be routed, and it's going to just finish out its configuration to get the management port up. And then most of the configuration is just going to be done through the GUI, which we'll connect to. And that's what, so all you're really doing in here is you're setting up the management so that you can get in and configure it using the GUI. So it's pretty much just like what we did with the Palos. We brought them up, we gave them a management IP, and then configured everything using that GUI. So, okay. So everything's set up there. So let's now open a browser. All right, so we're in this browser here. We go to HTTPS 192.168.0.128, and we're going to proceed. And there we go, loading. And okay, so now we're going to log in with that admin password, which we just changed. Let's wait for this to log in. Takes a minute. Okay, let's hope I just typed that wrong. And I did. Okay, so here we are, firepower. So it's still bootstrapping, you can see that after the initial install, the bootstrap after initial install is in progress. So this is going to take a few minutes. So I'm just going to pause this while we wait for this to finish. Okay, bootstrap has completed. Click OK. So we're going to skip device setup right now. And you can see we have we can start a 90-day evaluation. And we're going to pick a tier, and we're just going to go with this tier right here, because we do not need a lot for our lab. And confirm. So our next step is going to be to configure the interfaces. So what we're looking at is configuring these interfaces. So right here, gig 00, gig 01. So gig 00 is the outside, gig 01 is the inside. So we're still waiting for this to finish. So let's just give it a minute. Okay, here we go. So this is a pretty nice interface. You can see there's 00, there's 01, shows it connected. There's our management interface, 192.168.0.128. We know that. That's connected to our local LAN here. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up these interfaces, as I said. So let's go to, let's see where we want to go. Interfaces, we can do right here. Connected, view all interfaces. Here we go. So we can see this. Go over here, click edit. So this is going to be the outside one. Outside interface. Interface name, that's fine. Mode, route it. You can have route it or passive. Description, you can put a description in here. We need an IPv4. We're going to set it to static. And this one will be 75.10.10.2. 255, 255, 255.248. You could also put in /29. No standby address for this one because right now we're not setting up HA. In the future, we may set up HA with these, but right now let's just go with one IP address. Okay, now we're going to set up the inside. And right now you see it has a DHCP server address pool. We're going to delete that. We don't want that. So inside description, and this will be 10.170.10.0/24. That looks good. Actually, not dot zero because it's going to be dot one. Dot zero is the subnet mask or the network that we're on. So that looks good. Let's do that. Okay, our next step is let's create some objects that we can use. So right now we just go here and you can see nothing's applied right now. That's where you apply deployment right there. But we're going to go to objects. We're going to hit the plus right here. Actually cancel. Let's make sure we're on networks. We're going to add some networks. That's what we're doing at this point. Let's take a look at what we got. Networks. We hit plus. Give it a name. And we'll call this one the default gateway. We're going to use this in our NAT statement. So default gateway type will be host. And description is going to be, that's optional. We don't really need that. So 75.10.10.1. So that's the default gateway. So that's where it's going to go out on. So that's right here. That's this interface here of SP4 gig 02. Okay. So we have the default gateway. Let's add another. Hit plus here. And this is going to be a network. And we're going to name this one the inside network. And this will be 10.170.10, and we're not going to put it in the description, obviously. 10.170.10.0/24. Okay, so next up, we're going to click on security zones. So we have an inside zone and an outside zone already set up here. So we're going to go inside zone, and we're going to add that interface, the inside, and apply that to the inside zone. And we're going to do the same thing for the outside zone. So click there. And you can really see this is quite a bit like Palo Alto. Okay, so those have been applied. Now what we want to do is go back to here to device, and so right now there you can see that's set up. That is also set up. We haven't applied anything. Let's go to policies. Let's get our internet working. So click on NAT, and we're going to create a NAT rule. So the title for this will be the inside NAT rule, manual NAT. Apply this after the auto NAT rules, static, and then the original packet source interface is going to be inside. And the original source address, we're going to use inside network. So we have the source interface, source address set up. And then the translated packet over here, that's going to be the destination interface, which is going to be the outside. So we're going to use that outside address, that 70.10.10. Let me just check what that should be. So that outside address should be 75.10.10.2. Yeah, that's the outside address on the firepower threat defense. Okay. So in the translated address, destination interface outside. So let's see. Okay, so I think that's all we need there. So we can show the diagram. So the source is inside network, any inside, original, translated, outside, source to source any, destination any. So that's what we're looking at. It's a nice little diagram right there. And we're going to click OK. So let's see what it wants for that. It's giving me an error there. If you select any for the source address field, should select any for the source address field for original packets. Okay, so for that, we want to set this to the, let's see, the interface. That's what we want to do right there. Okay, so that's for NAT. We want to do inside network to the interface, and there we go. Okay. Perfect, perfect. All right, so that is now set up. So we have a NAT rule. We should also set up, do we need to set up an access rule? We may. Let's first do this. Let's do a deployment. And here it's going to give us all the information about our deployment. Let's deploy now. All right, so the deployment's taking place. We'll just wait for that. I'm going to pause it for a minute while we wait. Okay, so I did miss the one thing. Let me close this out. Let's create this access rule. We need to do that. Okay, so the rule name, let's call this inside to internet. And we're going to allow. Okay, so the source zone, inside zone, source networks. We're going to pick the inside network. We're going to say any port, we don't care. SGT groups, security group tagging. We're not going to care about that right now. That's if you're using ICE. Destination zone. So it's going to be to the outside interface. All right, that's taking a little while to come up. And you can see this is a lot like, this looks almost exactly like Palo Alto. Okay, there we go. Outside zone. And then we're going to go to this logging tab, and we're going to do at the beginning and end, and you could also do a syslog if you want. There we go. Let's click OK. So deployment's still in progress. Let's look at deployment history. You can do an audit log. You can download the configuration. So let's wait for this to finish, and then we're going to have to deploy this other one, the other change we just made. So what I'll do is I'll pause it while we wait for that. Okay, the first deployment's done. Now I'm going to deploy the inside to internet rule, and we'll be back after. I'm going to pause it right now just while we wait for that. Okay, that deployment just finished, and you can see no pending changes right now. So let's click OK. So you can see right now, nothing there. This, you can get a CLI console. Pretty nice. You can also see the task lists. There's a help. All right, so let's go and see if this is now working. So we've applied on PC1. Let's see if we can ping 10.0.1. 170.10.1. Let's make sure we can do that. Yes, we can. Let's see if we can ping 75.10.10.1. We can. So that's pinging inside here, going through the firewall right to this interface here and coming back. So that's a good sign. So next, what we'll do is we will ping, let's see what we have out here. We have this one, this Docker out here. Let's see what the IP is. We'll make sure we can ping something out on the internet. Okay. System tools, Mate terminal, IP adder, and this is 25.10.10.49. So let's ping 25.10.10.49. Okay, that's interesting. We cannot ping that. So we can ping out to here. So let's try something else. Let's try to ping another address, 1.1.1.1. That's a loopback on, I think, ISP1 or AS or SP1. Let's see if we can ping that. All right, so we're not able to ping these, but we can ping 75.10.10.1 from here. All right, so what we'll do is we'll troubleshoot this in the next video. Thanks.